Peace, YouTube. I think I'm live. Let me see. Ah, yeah, I am. Peace, YouTube. This is FleurBrun coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. Check on in. I'm not going to make this long. Oh, my lip slurring. I went to the dentist. Hopefully, I don't sound like I have a lisp. I'll wait until everyone checks on in. Peace, everyone. I know it's an impromptu video, but this is like my this has become what I've done just to avoid Willy Wonka and his League of Doom trying to frag out my videos. Hey, Sven. What is this like in my hair? Like, do I have gel? I'm sorry, y'all. Greetings, greetings. I hope the satellite full moon is not, super moon is not causing you to act in ways that you normally wouldn't act. Because it's a full-on satellite ran by the Draconians. Check on him. Oh, we got something. Now, this video, listen, I'm going to give you a warning. I always give you a warning. And if this video is not for you, if you are really squirmish, you're one of those loving lighters talking about, oh, I can't listen to anything. I can't listen to anything negative. It just bums me out. FleurBrun is, she gaslights us. If you're one of those, or you like love and light, so this video is not for you. Okay? This video is for those who can tolerate the truth, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's a little scary. But listen, it's better to know than it's rather than you not knowing. Okay, so this video isn't going to be a love and light video at all. I may have some good pointers on how to avoid these mother freakers because they're here. But other than that, like I said, I give you a warning. This video may not be for you. Okay, so please don't come in here writing me an epilogue on how I'm negative, I'm gaslighting you, your adrenals are off the hook, you can't sleep at night. This is not for the weak or the meek. Okay, so we'll wait until we get to 500. Oh, big up, big up. Hey, 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 Sven. Hey, hey, Delmache. Check on it. So I'll wait until we get to about 500. I hope all is well. What did you say, Devon? Now, if you don't want to be removed from here, you better be respectful. I am a real organic woman. Nothing on me is fake. If you can't tolerate that, or you have a low ability to have some self-restraint, you may want to leave this video. I am a busty babs, and I won't change to appease everyone. This is how I naturally look. But be respectful. You can appreciate without trying to, depreciate how I visually look, or to try to breast shame me. Okay? I'm a woman of a certain age, y'all. Hey, Jamoji. So we're going to talk about everything. I hope everybody's well. Please make sure that, again, I'm giving you the FYI. I try to give you the warning. This is not for the little ones. So for mommy and abuelas, put on your put on your earbuds for the little ones. Because again, this conversation is going to be a little I'm going to just explain things as I've seen them and as I'm experiencing it and tell you the truth. But if it's going to bother you, I'm going to talk about crocodilians. Now, that's a term I made up years ago about the Draconians. So I call them crocodilians. Don't get it twisted. They're Draconians. That's my terminology that I created for them. Okay? They're here. So crocodilians is a term, I don't know how many years did I made that up, like, what was that, like, what, 6 years ago? Who's on here? Maybe like 6 years ago. Some of you may know, like, one time I just made the term up because I was tired of them, like, getting gaslit every time I said the word Draconians. Anybody who knows, you guys may know the amount of years I can't go back in the videos. Okay? So come on in, check on it. So if you have any qualms, you're scary, you can't sleep at night, you're gonna be really, triggered by me talking about well, these are more intergalactical, but I will say for what we'll discuss, and I'll kind of speak on my concept that nothing is really intergalactical. It's basically like subterranean or underneath the water type of, what we consider to be the galaxy is not real. And we don't have space in the way that, Willy Wonka and the League of Doom in our educational system have like, you know, taught us or socially engineered us to believe. So that being said, my concept of things, I'll kind of break it down a little bit. Oh, thank you, Ken's color box. Make the rant extra long since they won't let me super chat. I miss you. Oh, wait, why can't you stay in? I'm sorry, Ken. Make the rant extra long since I'm sorry. They're haters. Did you see the picture? Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm gaslighting. It's gonna, it's Halloween month. The veil is really thin. We're in a super moon. It's on a pop. And so, like I said, only stay in the chat if you could tolerate this conversation. If you're not from the UFO community, if this is not a conversation that makes you comfortable, if you think I'm mentally ill, I'm probably am. When people say, "Oh, I am living in this world with these maniacs, narcissists, and people who eat babies and have sex with children." I don't know if you can say you're sane, but I can definitely cop to the fact that my mental wellness has been totally affected by these mad creatures that are here. Oh, my trans frog people are here, Ribbit. Hello, everyone. Oh, I love when you acknowledge me as a trans frog. It makes me feel so froggy. Come on in. Oh, we're almost at 500 already. Are you ready for the conversation? Okay. I had contact, y'all. It's not the contact that I would be proud of. And like I said, since I had contact with the Cersei, I talked about like the Lilith type of female beings that were coming here. Like this is Neiman Marcus shopping for ManKind cosmetics to uphold their lifespan and their life force. This one is kind of on that same level of conversation. So, we'll wait until we get to 500. So check on it. Blissful supermoon, that bastard moon. I hate the moon. They told that sucker it affects women more, because we're mostly water. That was meant to control us. So, when they say that women are maniacs and we're crazy around the full moon, it's because the motherfuckers programmed it for it to affect women the mostly. So of course. So if your woman is like scratching your face out, motherfucker, blame the moon that they towed here. Okay? We're acting like maniacs because it's goddamn moon. Nobody asked them to bring a control system over here so that we can be, because ever since we've been under that control, women haven't been doing too well. I'm just saying, I don't see that we've been benefiting from this toted moon. You make it bring our menses on at all crazy times. If we're pregnant during the time of the full moon, we're having the most torturous birthing scenario. And you use it to control us as if we need to be controlled. Only a strong, healthy male wouldn't want to control a woman because you would want her to be her true self, right? You would want her to be in her authentic self, right? If you're a healthy male, it wouldn't intimidate you for a woman to be in her natural, her natural form of her mind being just truly like unique and structured to allow her to be her best, right? Okay. Yeah, no, the moon will make your cycle crazy, y'all. And we'll talk about the menses blood and how it's gonna now. That's what I'm saying. Please, I'm gonna give you a warning again. I can't before 500. I'm gonna give you the warning again. I keep telling you, and I'm not saying you don't have to stay here, but if you are not mature enough, you're not from the UFO community and it bothers you and you think all of us are mentally ill for talking about aliens, which this has been my platform since 2011. You may be new on the block, but I've been on the block for a while, okay? And if talking about adult things or things that go bump in the night bother you, just you don't have to judge me. You could just leave and just not listen, okay? Please don't write me a thing talking about you're scared, okay? Please. Okay? Because what I'm going to share with you isn't for the weak or the meek. Okay? So check on it. We're almost to 500, y'all. Check on it. I got a little bit of a list because I went to the dentist. So don't worry about it. Okay. If you can hear me, I think I sound like I have a lisp, but it's because I have a little numbness in the back of my tooth. Oh, we're at 500, y'all. Peace to the east, the west, and the south. This is FleurBrun coming to you today with a new topic of discussion, rather an announcement on contact that I had. So big up to everybody in here. I hope that you are being able to mitigate some of the effects of the full super moon, the fake superficial fake satellite that they got up in the goddamn sky looking like Jeepers Creepers. I hope you're okay. Okay. So about 2 days ago, many of you know, within the last after the eclipse, I had contact with what I perceive to be like Lilith type beings, Seraphim. And again, I don't know that that's the terminology could use with them, but those are the beings that I contact. And I kind of explained to you that it was a little disconcerting to realize that the reason why they were here on in this holographic system, or rather right above, like laying above us, it is to make good on their investment. They were using, mankind as a form of um what you consider about like luge, or what is the like the concoction that you see that they make from children's pineal gland, what is it, adrenochrome. They utilize mankind's conscious state of being, like their body physicality, and they utilize their life force to enhance and to maintain their own. Those were the females that I was in contact with, but there's a difference now. And now we have what they're telling you is AI Atlas. Now you're going to hear all these comments about AI Atlas coming. Oh, it's coming in November. They said it was coming in October. And big up to this gentleman. I think I'm going to link his video below. He actually captured some imagery because I think it was a NASA site. He actually saw the actual different ships coming with AI Atlas, what he perceived as AI Atlas. Now, one thing I want to say to you is what I now this is my take on it. And it's changed over the years because space, in the way that we've known it, that we've been educated, is always like it's outer space, right? We're taught to look up, look at the stars, look at the sky, look at the sun and the moon and those celestial fixtures, and that's the way that we've always perceived space. But in later days and more awareness, oh, thank you, Wolf Status Ricardo. Marry me, Whitney. Oh, behave behave yourself. I don't know if that's appropriate, but thank you for the super chat. Uh, I don't know what that means. I don't even say the last part. Behave yourself, please. But thank you. I appreciate the super chat. Appreciate it. So in the way that we perceive space, we've always been told it's outer, right? So in later years, in my awareness, I've come to the knowing that space isn't what we've been taught. And, big up to Dr. Delbert Blair, which kind of like triggered the beginning of realizing that the lies that your science teachers and your professors have been telling you is absolutely outrageous. Like, they should be sued. Like, we should sue our the people that constructed and created the educational system, because it was a lie. Most of the things we're taught are lies. Okay, just like when Delbert Blair, this is why I say he kind of made me aware. Dr. Delbert Blair said something one time, and this is years ago, maybe like 12 years ago, and he said, why is it that when the sun is closest to the earth, we're experiencing winter, and when it's further away from the sun, we're further away from the earth, we experience summer? So if the sun is hot, why are we experiencing an atmospheric reflection that would be inverted? You understand? Can I say it again? He said, if the sun is hot, right? It's this hot, blazing, gaseous fixture that illuminates heat, right? Emits heat and light. Why is it that When the sun is furthest from us, we're experiencing summertime. And when the sun is closest to us, we experience wintertime. I mean, yeah, wintertime. And then also, just ask your question whenever you see those fake astronauts probably going underwater, showing us an image that's not true. When we see the astronauts going and doing their expeditions to freaking whatever they say they're going to the moon, which we know is a psyop and fake. But when we see that, how come when they go out in space and they hit that point, that pinnacle point, when they're out of the atmosphere, if the sun is so bright, how come we don't see an illumination when they're up there? How come they're not like bombarded by sun and heat and like a glare? How come it's all black? Now, I share this with you as a reminder because when I talk about certain things or I speak about things, I want to bring some validity and some credence to the fact that everything that's been propagandized to us, the things that we've studied, are lies. To kind of like make us remedial, kind of disallow us from evolving or accepting concepts beyond what we can conceptualize as basic science. Okay? So 2 days ago, I had contact. Now, this is a little different because normally contact is usually sometimes I'm taken up, or it could be like right where I am, someone or something comes and speaks to me. This one was a little different and it concerned me because now that I knew that the seraphim, these Lilith type of beings that are here shopping like they're in Neiman Marcus and Bloomingdale's, shopping for ManKind, adrenochrome, as if this is like a high-end store, I realized that we're coming to the time when the pole shift is right upon us. We have the reset. We're heading into reset. And all of these type of energies and entities are entering into our space underneath the firmament, coming from underneath the water. Because that's really where space is. Space is not above y'all. It's underneath the water. And then there's a whole concept of everything that we see up in the sky is a refractive light form that's basically bouncing down from the bottom. So basically, we're seeing a mirrored vision in the sky of what's below us. Okay? So, the other day, 2 days ago, and I think it has to do with the full moon. You know, you hear this whole concept of the AI Atlas. And 2 days ago, I was in a room and I'm sitting like in a room and I see like water around me. And I'm thinking to myself, why is there so much water? And I see like scales, like, like dinosaur backs, like what you would see if like you're looking at a dinosaur, just like backs of alligators. So I recognize this alligators all in the waterways all around. And I backed up and I noticed that like a deer, a little baby deer was sitting on the side of maybe like a embankment, or like an embankment where there's a building on the side. There's a baby deer. And I was looking around to make sure, because in my mind, I'm like, I got to watch my dogs. Anybody who's lived in Florida, big up to my old Floridians or those living in Mississippi or Alabama or parts of even Texas, like Houston area, Louisiana, where you know about the alligators. You're aware of that. Like if you live in Florida, if you live in those places, you're always hyper aware of that all waterways most likely have some form of alligator or reptile in it that could be nefarious and dangerous to your life. And when I was sitting in this room, was I sitting? I was kind of standing then sitting, and I noticed that all of the waterways around me had these alligators around. And I'm not talking about like one or two. I'm talking about like it was like tons of them from what I could see. Because at first I saw the backs, and then I made sure, because I looked to the right of me and I saw this little deer, and I'm looking around this space to make sure my dogs, because in my mind I was like, I gotta watch my dogs, because if you lived in anywhere like Florida, you know that they eat dogs. Like they eat dogs like you eat popcorn, okay? Many people have lost their pups or cats. Cats are a little more vicious and less frightened, but nonetheless, alligators are vicious and they're just very ancient the way that they hunt. They're very cold and calculated, and they can stay like still for long periods of time. So they're very stealth. and not noticeable. So I saw these alligators all the way, like all the way in the waterways, and I was surrounded by water all the way around. And I'm looking, and then there was a door on like the left of me, like an open door. It's like, imagine there's water, but there's like a door. Now you have to think to yourself, I talked about, sometimes we can be in a state of dream, but you have to test your lucidity. And I'm very lucid in what you perceive to be my dream state. So a lot of times, if I'm unaware of where I am, I do testing within myself so that I can find what kind of mindset I'm in, if I'm in a dream, if I'm in another dimension, if I'm in the ether, if I'm astral planing. I've found ways to try to discern where I am. And especially a lot of times if you're taken or you have some sort of contact where you're being extracted on a ship or in another dimension, you can literally do these things to kind of give you some idea if you're awake, if you're sleeping, if you're in astral, if you're in the ether. You can test those things. So I always say that a great way to do this is, those of you who are lucid usually know this, like if you pinch yourself and it's a dream, it's numb, you don't feel anything. So a lot of times if you've I don't know what stages and some of the lucidity that some of you experience, but usually when you pinch yourself in the dream state, or if you think you're in a dream, you pinch, it's numb, you know you're dreaming. Now, when you're traveling interdimensionally, or sometimes when some people say they travel interastral, like interastral, where they're purposefully leaving their body, and usually when they touch themselves or they perceive themselves, it's like almost like a tingly feeling. Like you get a little, how do you say? Like you ever had like a part of your body go numb, but it's tingly, like it's coming back? Can you kind of understand that? Um, what do you call it? What do you call it? I don't know what that's called. Like when it's a little tingly. It's very tingly. Like when your numbness is going away and you're getting that tingly feeling. That's how it feels sometimes in the astral. And for those who travel in the astral, you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's like a weird kind of like, like a oh god, it's like a tingly feeling all over your body. Like pins and needles. Thank you, Cosmic. I couldn't pinpoint it. Like a tingly feeling, right? So that's how you know you're in an astral. But usually when I'm trying to decipher where I am, or if I'm taken, or if I'm seeing something from a space that has more reality to it, more credence, meaning that it's not a dream, it's not necessarily astral, but it's something maybe interdimensional, or I'm in another form of like a part of the multiverse, like another version of it. What I do is when I do pinch myself, I feel it. I can feel it, and also I feel temperatures, meaning I can feel hot and cold. I can feel pressure. I can feel differentiations in the temperature on my feet, my hands. That's how I know that it's something more what you perceive to be real. That's how I know I'm more conscious in that state. That's how I know I'm somewhere where there's more validity to wherever I am, rather than in a dream or in the astral. Because the astral, you can see multiple versions of different beings. You can see things that you can't see when you're in your wake state. I just want to give you a kind of idea how I test myself to see how uh lucid I am. Okay, so when I went to go pinch myself before I opened the door, because once I see a door in the middle somewhere that shouldn't be there, when there's a host of water around me, I know that I'm in another world. And I'm lucid most of the time, conscious. But in order to test that theory, I usually pinch myself or touch my face. And when I touched my face, I felt a warmness. And then when I went to pinch my wrist, I felt the pain, the pinch. So I knew I was somewhere, that either I was taken somewhere, or I had dimensionally skipped over to another realm and was perceiving something. But this is how I test the theory. So we can kind of go on that. I think I talked about this with the Zoom. Many of you know me over the years. I kind of break that down so you kind of get some idea of what's going on. Because some of you think it's just a dream I'm experiencing. I know the difference between a dream and astral, the etheric realms and different dimensions. I've vetted this over the years. Okay, my father gave me that book, that lucid dreaming book, astral planing, when I was like 12 or 13. I'm about that life. Okay, so I'm looking at these alligators, and they're all over, and in my mind, I'm nervous about the animals around me. That's the first thing, because you know I'm an animal person. I'm worried about the dogs, and I see a deer like in an embankment on the side, like almost like the side of a building. And then I look over and there's a white door in the middle with no imagine a door is like erect and um there's no building, there's nothing there. The door is just erect, like a white door. And I can't say it was totally white, maybe a little off white, but it was a white door in the middle. So there's a door and there's water all around with all these alligators. So I quietly, after I do the test and I know that this is something that's real, it's a reality that I'm experiencing, I'm seeing something from a real vantage point, I go and pull the door open and I see one huge alligator in the middle, like taking up this huge waterway. I don't know what the waterway is. I don't know if it was on a ship. I'm assuming it was. And it was like banked there, just sitting there. And the back was so big, it was taking up most of the water. And then I left the door. I didn't close it. I kind of left it ajar because I was scared. You know, I do get scared sometimes, y'all. I know you think that I'm just brave. I'm really not. It's just sometimes I just know if I see something crazy and I can't really tell if that's a danger to me, I just don't want to cause any sharp movements. So I opened the door and then I kind of left it ajar. Now the door has no hinges. And when I said not hinges, it has nothing around it. It's just a door in the middle of like space, just erected. And I'm looking at all of these alligators all over, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we got a problem here. This is probably the Draconians, because you know I call them the Crocodilians for a reason. Whenever you see a host of, in my past, whenever you see a host of alligators like that, that means that there's the legion of crocodilians that's on site, meaning they're present here, meaning that I'm visually experiencing them because these motherfreakers are here. Okay. And then as soon as I thought that and I backed up a little bit, the little cute little deer that was sitting like on the side of the embankment, she hopped up. And as soon as she hopped up, she ran towards the water, and this big alligator just put his head up and bit her and just ate her up in front of me. And then I kind of just backed off, crouched down a little bit, and just closed my eyes so I could wake up out of it, because this is not where I want to be. Okay. And then I woke up out of it. So why do I tell you this? Is because now when I see that everyone's talking about the A1 AI Atlas and the fact that we see all these ships coming in, because of that experience, it lets me know who's here. And that's the Draconians. The Draconians come in, and whenever you do things, whenever you have those beings here, it's not a good sign. For them to come as many as I saw in that waterway and that door shows up, maybe it's because I saw them on a ship. Maybe I was allowed to see in another dimension, but it means that they're the ones coming here. And whenever Draconians come in that number, in that size, especially when a gentleman, and I'm going to try to find that video for you guys, where you see the ships coming in, like a multitude of ships coming in, and he actually caught it on the NASA video, even though they tried to hide it. It lets me know that they're coming here to feast. They're coming here for the harvest. Just like the seraphim came here, just like they talked about, they were coming here to engage in mankind and to harvest it. It looks like the Draconians are here. The Crocodilians are here to harvest as well. And they're here to feast on all the remnants of the diabolicalness, the deaths that are probably coming in. And anytime you see them in that number, it's a little concerning to me, because now I think, and I'm hoping I'm wrong, I'm thinking that the reason why they're here is because we're about to have a mass huge event that will cause many people to transcend. And they're going to be the reason, their presence. And, you know, like I told you, the stooges, the ones who work for them, the diabolical Darrows who work underneath them as a henchman, doing and creating havoc and drama on this planet to allow for these beings to feed. I'm actually thinking that we're about to get a huge World War III event, a false flag, a pandemic, whatever it is, because for them to be present along with those other women that are here to harvest, that means we're in harvesting season. So I go into the fact of the matter is that when that whole thing with Charlie Kirk happened, and I talked about that being a huge psyop, but it was all interconnected to many different rituals that Willy Wonka and his League of Doom have done. And I don't know if you remember, when Kobe Bryant supposedly was killed in the helicopter, and him being connected to the Black Mambo, right? So the Black Mambo, and that was the ushering in of the pandemic, the beta test pandemic that they were instituting to test to see, it was a beta test to see how far and how wide they can get humanity so scared and so complicit and so apathetic that they would participate in a bioweapon that was geoengineered to take out part of the population. But now, when we have a Charlie Kirk event, which a lot of you didn't know, I just happened to know of him because I listened to a lot of this stuff on Twitter, on X, and I knew of him going to campuses, talking to young people. And when I first saw him, I was like, he's diabolical. Okay, he was gaslighting young people. He had a very biased center of gravity, is how he spoke to melanated people. I already knew it was an issue, but now everything makes sense when you have the Lord of Darkness, the chaos drama biting bat eater, Ozzy Osbourne dying right before the Charlie Kirk event. So when hindsight is 2020. So I go to the fact that I go back to the last 2020 event when they did the beta event for the pandemic with the bioweapon introduction. Now you see Ozzy Osbourne ushering in. So he's the Black Mamba, but he's the Black Lord, the Lord of Darkness, bringing in as a ritual his death, his memorial is bringing in another pandemic. And remember, they always relate pandemics to rats and to bats. And what makes this very similar is because the bat is the flying rat. And what happened in 2020? Does anyone know what 2020 was? What was the year of in Chinese astrology? Let's see if anybody knows. What was the year in 2020 of Chinese astrology? What year was it? What animal year was it that they kicked off that pandemic? Let's see if anybody knows. Sage got it. It was the year of the rat. Do you see how esoterically and metaphysically they'll do things? And it's not always overt. Sometimes it's covert in the way they institute things. So it was the year of the rat, where that bioweapon, because remember, pandemics and disease and a lot of these things are always attributed to rats, right? But what is also attributed to disease is the flying cousin of the rat, which is the bat. So the Black Mambo was initiated with Kobe when bringing in the fake beta test pandemic. The second one is being initiated with Ozzy Osbourne and being followed up with a Christ-like figure who's murdered. Remember, that whole concept of Christ, y'all, when I talk about Christ, take that very loose with me. I'm just speaking about energy that people perceive. But a lot of people perceived him as like a Christ type of figure that was sacrificed, right? And then they had a whole ritual. And let me give you a background story, because sometimes you'll hear me say things like, where's she getting all this? Right before this happened, big up to the Sea Star who sent me a video of someone we talked about the real pandemic. The real pandemic was going to come, is going to be initiated, right? With them saying, I told you the code words were meningitis, measles, encephalitis, and what's the other one? Marburg. Okay, remember I told you that before? Okay, I'm cooking, y'all. I'm cooking. Stay with me. I'm putting the ingredients in, okay? So, do you know that why would they choose Arizona, of all places, to have the memorial? Because Charlie Kirk's family, as far as I know, they're not from there. The girl apparently went to school or was something, the wife, the satanic Babylonian thought that you call his wife, who threw up the freaking devil symbol up and had a whole Ozzy Osbourne concert for her husband's memorial and hugging on Trump while he's skidding his teeth because he was so excited probably about the sex of doom they had the night before with all the Masons who engaged with the thought of Babylon. I know I'm so I'm so over the top. I'm sorry. I'm dramical. I'm dramical, y'all. I made that word up. Don't think I'm ignorant. Sometimes just make terminology up. Okay. She threw up the freaking. She threw up the. They had fireworks. Did she look like she was? Did she look like she was mourning her husband's death? Okay. Did she look like she was sad? I'm just asking for a friend. She didn't look like she was upset. But you didn't ask yourself the question, how were they able to get a big enough facility to house that many Christians in one space? And I talk to you all the time. You say I'm paranoid, but if I was you, why would you go to any of it? You just had your Christ-like brother get assassinated, which we know is a psyop. I doubt he's even dead. We don't know. If he is, I'm sorry, but if he isn't, it's the same difference. Okay, it's the same energy. Okay, it's a ritual. Why then would you have a huge? How could you get a huge place to house that many Christians in one space? And you know how I feel whenever they do something to your figure. Charlie Kirk was your homeboy. He was a Christian. He represented the lunar patriots. He did. He came from like that very strong Christian belief, but the patriots felt very much in sync with him, right? Why would you ever go to a space where they can spray biological weapons on you or use you as a beta or as a petri dish to spread viruses and mass destruction? Because you know they like to do that, right? Okay. And people say, well, no, but you had like the president was there, Vance was there, all these political figures. Now, I'm going back, I'm cooking, but I want to remind you about the goulash that was being planned. Remember Rudolph of Germany, the tall white alien? Some of you don't resonate with him, but I've known him for years, and he's been 1000% correct. He said they were getting ready to release a bioweapon, and they did not want to release it until they could, for certain, had a remedy for their own people. And the reason why it was being delayed is because they didn't have a strong enough concoction or a remedy or something that would protect their own people. So when people say if they're doing a pandemic, all these celebrities being there, all these governmental officials, that means absolutely nothing. What that lets you know is if something comes in the 21 days, I'll get into that in a minute, is that they have the remedy that they took and they made sure that sucker worked for them before they sat in midst of those that they're biologically emitting a bioweapon on that most likely will show up. Usually I say 7 to 14 days if it's an animal, but if it's a human, it can show up in 21 days. Now, I found it very interesting that the place that they had this whole memorial for Charlie Kirk in a place where his parents didn't even show up. Like, who's having a memorial and there's a Christ figure and he don't have a parent on site representing their child if it's a real murder and assassination? You think with the president and the vice president there, his parents wouldn't show up if it was real? Use your critical thinking, y'all. Their son just got murdered and none of them are on site. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Okay? And then the place that they have it just so happens to be the place that this thought of mass destruction, the Babylonian thought that was a honeypot that was picked and contracted to be with Charlie Kirk. Where did she run to be in a pageant? What state was it? What state? This is what I'm saying. I'm cooking, y'all. What state was she a pageant girl that Trump picked her, plucked her out of so-called the blue, right? Arizona. Thank you, Sven. Arizona. You don't think that's odd? So she was a pageant girl. Do you see how they put signs and symbols to each other? They're speaking the Knights of Templar, the Darrows of mass destruction, the dark Kabbalists, the Satanists of Babylon. They like to talk to each other and they like to play and pluck at us. They like to poke at us and say, oh, look at you idiots. Look, you don't even know. We're just throwing it all in your face. We're going to tell you where we're going to kick off the pandemic and we're going to tell you what ground zero is, but you're never going to know because we're just planning all these fake events, psyops. You'll never know. So here we back around again. And we're back in a cylindrical pattern where this woman supposedly just lost her husband through assassination, but she didn't have one tear, crocodilian tear shed. Now, I actually think she might be a crocodilian queen of she might be a crocodilian shapeshifter. I haven't verified that. I looked at Umar. Umar is, in my opinion, a reptilian of some sort. We talked about Umar Johnson being a reptilian. That's my opinion. From what I saw him in his shapeshifting eyes, made sense because he didn't have any rhythm. He was placed there. But that's another conversation, okay? They always purposefully place their species, their creatures, their hybrids in high positions so that they can control the narrative and manipulate the populace. Okay? So now we have this young lady who was picked and personally picked by Trump to run in a pageant. Supposedly she never had any background in it. She runs in a pageant for Arizona. And right in the week before this whole event happened, when Charlie Kirk was supposedly assassinated, right, in Utah, okay? Even though there was no murder tape around the place, no blood was found. They had trap doors underneath it. You had all the crazy Darrow's security over there running it. They had all the cameras taken. I mean, I'm just saying, if you can't smell a psyop, I'm just helping you out, okay? Now we had all that happen. Then they decided to do memorials. Whose decision was it to do the memorial in a town that Charlie Kirk didn't grow up? Why would you have a memorial in a place that his family didn't feel comfortable going to? Do you understand? Because it was all purposefully done, because the eye was on the prize. Because a week before that, big up to the Sea Star, I forgot your name, who sent me the video about a case of a virus. This is all interconnected to the Crocodilians and the reptilians, y'all. Who sent me a video of a virus, of a young person who got a virus. It was a silent virus. It had no signs. And when it showed up fully, guess what happened to their brain? Just like Rudolph of Germany told us that the next pandemic, they would have brain swelling. Guess what? This person was in Arizona, and they were one of quite a few who were getting this virus, this silent virus that they're not telling you, because remember I told you they're gonna have different names for it. When they're trying to put something out, they don't need you putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. They want to make sure they put them apart so you don't ever put them together. But all of these supposed people, guess where they were living? Guess where they had the virus, where the swollen brain was coming? In Arizona. And guess what? Where you invited all of these Christian people who felt so sad that their Christ figure, Charlie Kirk, was assassinated. This was over 60,000. How many people, y'all? Can someone give me the actual number? Was it 60,000 people? There was so many people in this huge arena. Can someone give me the number? I forgot the number. It was crazy. Every seat was filled. Every person was there. You had children there, grandparents there. How many people were there, y'all? I'm letting you know, this is what? 300,000? Are you serious? Wait, is it 300,000? Wait, can someone confirm that? Wait, what? Oh my God. Okay. Oh, this is worse. I didn't know it was, oh. Okay, let me keep it together. I'm cooking. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that many. Oh, it's worse, y'all. Okay, so you got all these. Remember, the Darrows don't like Christians. They hate Jesus Christ. They said Jesus is burning in feces. They spit in your face when you go to the Middle East. They hate you. Their goal is to get rid of all the Christians. Christians, you're not even paying attention. They had 300,000 of you in an arena that was geoengineered just in the same week that this hidden virus was showing up to people in Arizona, y'all, that they didn't announce out loud. It was a Sea Star. Thank you to the Sea Star who let me know that this virus was going rogue in Arizona. And meanwhile, my thought is, and remember, I can't vet this out. We can all watch it together, because we won't know until we know, because I always look, you know what I mean? I have my spidey senses about me, that usually a virus, especially a biologically engineered virus of mass destruction created by the Babylonian Satanists themselves, it usually takes around 21 days. Guess what, y'all? You know, I'm going to bring everything full circle. We've got Ozzy Osbourne kicking off the virus, the ritual of death by bat. Just like in 2020, the rat brought in the pandemic. The second one is brought in by the bat of the Lord of Darkness. The Black Mambo, the first one, the Lord of Darkness, the second one, kicking it off with the Christ-killing figure in Utah, which has very biblical names, a big Christian place. And now you had a pandemic, ground zero, Arizona, where a hidden virus is being spread all over the place and no one's told. And this is my theory. Just stay with me. The Darrows hate Christians. They want to get you back because you said that they killed your Christ, but they're trying to get at you. And I told you the only safety in the United States. What I tell you, y'all, I told you before, the only safety in the United States was the Patriots. The middle America Patriots, Christians, because they're very hyper Christians, usually very hyper religious, who held and stockpiled all of the weapons of mass destruction from their fathers and grandfathers. They've been stockpiling since First World War II. I told you the only way that America can stay safe is if that group is not smoked out. But guess what they did, y'all? It's all connected to the Crocodilians. They smoked them out. And how did they smoke them out? They killed their Christ figure. They assassinated him, gaslit that group, and smoked them out to where they can all go in one space where they can be biologically, chemically, tested on. Those people who went there, it's my theory. And the 21 days we counted, thank you to Daryl from Zoom. We counted because, you know, I work in that field. 21 days is usually when a virus shows up, even if it's hidden or it's sublime. You can't see it. 21 days is when you see it. 21 days, y'all. Ends when? November 1st, y'all. And you tell me they're not planning and plotting? 21 days is November 1st. What is November 1st? The day after. It's the harvest day after they feed the fat and the children with candy and sweets and everything. They sweeten and fatten the children. They fatten them up and they get them ready. When did they harvest it? November 1st, y'all. What does this matter? Because I told you, if the Crocodilians are here, if that ship, A1 Atlas, which sounds like A1 steak sauce, doesn't it? You don't think they're playing with you when they name it after a steak sauce? Like A1, you know A1 steak sauce that you put on steaks? You don't think it's kind of weird that they named it after a steak sauce? Because they're kind of gaslighting you. They're poking at humans, saying, hey, that's what we're going to use as we harvest you after your own governments, your own Willy Wonka systems, like purposefully introduce a bioweapon to take you all out so we can harvest you. The Crocodilians are here to eat humanity. The Seraphim are here for mankind. But the 3-eye Atlas, that's coming to allow these Crocodilians to feed off of what is being killed off and slaughtered on their behalf. Now, I could be wrong. I could be mentally ill. I mean, I've been accused of that over the last couple years, right? Oh, she believes in spaceships, talks about aliens, but now everybody talks about aliens, right? So I'm not the only one. So apparently more people are realizing that we're living amongst non-humans, because if we were living amongst humans, why would they kill off all the trees? Why wouldn't they want to do things to protect their citizens? Why wouldn't they try to encourage the children to be smarter and not dumber? Why are they promoting the most dastardly music and the most low vibrational behavior and mental illness to everyone if they loved us? If that was the case, then they would be doing great things. It lets me know, and it lets all of you know, that we're being ran and we're being overran by non-humanoids that are using humanity as like Pop-Tarts, that are basically using humanity for food and fuel source, unbeknown to the majority of people who are existing here. And the fact that these Draconians, these Crocodilians have showed up in mass at this particular time, I'm putting everyone on notice that you need to pay attention to everything and everyone around you. If you want to go and be out and about in big crowds so they can biologically put bioweapons and nanotechnology on you so you can have Magellans and little Wi-Fi signals coming from your body, talking to your cell phone at night while you're sleeping, that's on you. But now that I understand and understand that these beings being here isn't a good sign for what's about to occur, I'm letting you know that do expect a blackout. Do expect a World War III announcement. Do expect multiple psyops with mass murders, gaslighting, and forms of things happening unexpected that are purposefully proposed and promoted and propagandaed to put people in a mindset where they're unable to protect themselves, understand what's happening, or even put themselves in a positive mindset. Now, I told you when he came in, this wasn't going to be a love and light message. This wasn't going to be a message that's going to make you feel all dreamy and wonderful and gooey inside. This isn't. This is me keeping it real, me letting you know that as much as I wish that these were positive, more amazing beings that have come here, these are more of the henchmen's people who are coming here because they contracted for human beings and mankind to be harvested at this time. We're in harvest season. And remember, for that Deagle report to basically come to fruition, how could that many people die in each country unless there's something that's going to push and promote and initiate that kind of mass death? Now, remember, my concept of us existing here, I don't actually think there's a lot of real people here. I actually perceive that we're living in a dome, in a holographic system where the majority of things aren't real. Many of the beings that you're interfacing with are NPCs or fillers or holographic people, or others that have walk-ins in them, like people who pay from another realm to walk into a body to experience things like a roller coaster ride, to see what it's like to be in a holographic world where those who are real and those who aren't. This is going to be very diabolical. And this time frame is for those to pay attention, to make sure that you cross your T's and you dot your I's. These mother freakers have been planning, and don't you believe there's a peace treaty going abroad? Don't you believe the hype? That is all to orchestrate a sense of security, a sense of peace that is a lie. They aren't peaceful beings here. Your Willy Wonka systems aren't good people. They're not even people at all. They have slit tongues. They have slit eyes. They consume children and have sex with children. That's not a place those are human beings. What kind of human beings would have sex with their offspring? Does that sound like humans? Does that sound like something that comes from our nature? Or does that sound like a hybridized kind of group of geoengineered beings created by your Willy Wonka systems to put inside of the algorithm of humanity so that we walk around with these demonistic, low vibrational, gaslighting, devilish, child trafficking, child sex having, necrophilia contemplating beings? Trust no one. Let them prove that they are innocent before anything. What's going on now is diabolical. And now that I witness that these beings are here and they're here for the feast, lets me know that there is a big plan and a big event. And I'm talking about a big event, not like before. I told you 2020 was a beta test to see how complicit humanity would be in participating in bioweaponry by their own accord, by their own apathy, by their own ignorance, by their own fear. You are going to have to be very vigilant, very self-aware, and very cognizant that most things in this plane of existence right now are not your friend. It's like living in 21 Days of Darkness. You ever see that movie 28 Days of Darkness? You're living with diabolical beings. They don't want good. You are their food source. They haven't any positive things on humanity. They are eating and consuming children. Do you realize that? They're consuming children like you consume cow or chicken. Does that sound like a healthy place to be? How do you have this many children being trafficked and women, and there's nothing and nowhere they can find them? Because they're consuming them. They're eating their flesh, they're using their organs for regeneration, and they're using the rest of the flesh and everything and putting in the food source of humans so you can have mad cow disease. You know how mad cows, the concept of mad cows comes from prions? No, it comes from you feeding cows their own cows, like being cannibalistic with their own, eating their own species. What do you think it does to humanity when you feed them their own people? When you're eating children in your meat sources, and you only when things die, the blood turns, once it oxidizes, turns brown. So just the fact that you're going to a grocery store and seeing packs and packs of meat with red dye on it, that already lets you know that they've already lied to you. And then you're consuming meat that you can't verify because you don't even know the meat source. How many cow farms do you see lately in the Americas? In America, specifically. How many? Do you know how many hamburgers are being created daily? But I can tell you, it doesn't match the amount of farms we have with cows. But you know what? It does match the numbers of hamburgers and meat being consumed. It does match the amount of missing people and children that we see missing daily. Did they take away my voice? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Did it not come up? Put a 13 if you hear me. You can't hear me? Oh, no. Did they glitch me out? Am I back? Can you hear me? Oh. It's proof is in the pudding. Okay? This is a time that you want to make sure that you watch what you consume, you watch who you're around, and you watch what you consume with your eyes, your ears, and your body. These motherfreakers here are not slick. They got the rest of everybody, the sheeple, who are sitting there eating their, the hamburger helpers, eating roast beef, really children of mass destruction that have been killed, all these trafficked children. As soon as they take out their organs, what do you think? Why don't we find the bodies? They're not using mass incinerators. They're freaking using the bodies and putting it in the meat source. And then for everybody, during this time, the Darrows have their ritual when they put the chickens over their head during Yom Kippur, and they put all the chickens in mass destruction to put all the demons of their dirty deeds above their head. And guess what? Guess where that chicken goes after they put all the demons in their chickens during this ritual, during this religious holiday time? I think it's Yom Kippur. They put all the chickens above their head. Guess where that chicken source goes into, y'all? Remember the first year we saw the chicken challenge? When all the chicken places, what was it? Popeye chicken was having like $1.99 chicken, 99 chicken sandwich. You think there's that many chickens, y'all? You know what they're doing? They're taking the chickens of the Darrow's demons that they put over their head and they put all their dark deeds in, and they're donating it, allegedly, to all of the chicken places and giving them the chickens so that humanity has the mental illness and all the darkness and the karma in the chickens that you consume. That's why with my group in Zoom, we made it a point that during this holiday season, if you like chicken, you stay away from all chicken sources, unless it's a farm that you know personally. We stay away from all chicken sources, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Church's Chicken, Popeye's Chicken, what's the other one? Chick-fil-A, all the Kentucky, well, I said Kentucky, right? All the chicken places, all those demon chickens, all those diabolical, dastardly chickens that the rabbis are putting over their head and people are putting over their head, putting all the dark deeds of all the perverted things, biting off children's foreskins and drinking the blood off the tip of their penises, and all the freaking child chairs that were underneath that yeshiva in New York where children with blood on the mattresses. All those dark deeds are going in the chicken. And then you wonder why after you just had a really good chicken sandwich, you feel like you want to kill your wife. You feel like you want to hurt somebody, allegedly. Why do you feel that way? Is because you've been consuming demons of mass destruction in flesh. They put it in the goddamn chickens, y'all. I told you I shouldn't have made this video. I told you it wasn't going to be a love and light video, y'all. Okay? I'm sorry. They keep cutting my sound. Are they stopping my video? Let me know if you can hear me. So I would suggest, just me, I could be crazy. I'm a trans frog. We don't know what I am. My suggestion, just what I'll do, I would refrain from eating any public chicken. I would refrain from eating red dyed meat with carcinogens on top of meat sources and grocery stores. I would stop supporting dark, energetic artists like Cardi B being pregnant and twerking while she's pregnant. What kind of child is she producing by twerking pregnant on live television? What kind of energy is she bringing to her unborn child? I would suggest refraining from eating and consuming light, anything you see, anything you smell, anything you hear that is low vibrational, because when you have these kind of energies, it feeds into the tabernacle, the feast of the tabernacle that these Draconians, these Crocodilians are about to engage with. If you aren't in alignment with the energy that is making you more susceptible for being a byproduct of being a consumable product, whether it's your energy or your flesh, then those things can't interface with you. They can only interface with you when you match their energy. Remember, like attracts like. It's a very mirrored kind of environment we're coexisting in this holographic experience. So if you aren't resonating at the frequency of a draconian who consumes humanity based on contracting the Daros to make it easier to lower the vibration of humanity so that it makes them more consumable, stop participating in entertainment or entrainment or eating consumption of things that are in the vibration of what matches those entities and energies that have just come into our dome. Okay? Oh, yeah. You could put a like in the video. I don't know that you'll like the video when we're talking about it. I told you if you come here, I was going to give you information that wasn't going to be positive, it's not love and light. And please, let me explain. All you love and lighters who come in here and give me epilogues of me speaking about, why are you here? Don't listen to me. I'm going to gaslight you because I'm going to speak about things that are probably going to scare you. And because you're probably not in alignment with it, it's going to bother you. So just leave, unsubscribe. You can go to another channel where they'll talk about positive things all day. They'll gaslight your fakeness and your lack of reality and your blindness to the realities of what's going on. It's not saying you have to participate in these things, but acting as if they don't exist is part of the reason why you keep falling in the same pattern of holes and misfortunes, because you're unwilling to note that things are existing here that we should avoid and we can try to get around. But if you're faking the funk and you're acting like it doesn't exist, then you're just going to be a victim of your own blindness. Bird box. Okay. In order to make better and to do better, you gotta know you can't change what you don't acknowledge. And yeah, you could say this is not real, but uh, everything that I've said so far over the years has come to fruition. And for those who used to call me crazy in 2011 and 12, talking about there was no such a thing as aliens, you aren't seeing that now. Okay, where everyone wouldn't touch the topic, especially as a melanated person, I see a lot of people in the conversation at this point. Okay. Be mindful. The crocodilians are here. Those ships are coming in. They're not coming from above. They're coming from underneath the water. You're seeing a refraction of light coming from underneath the water. Space isn't around us in the way that you think. Most of the space that we know and we're experiencing or we're talking about is underneath the water. That's why all the ships generally come from underneath the water. All these earthquakes are coming from subterranean. Everything that's hitting is coming from underneath us. That's why when a ship comes, generally you have a lot of shallow earthquakes happen at the same time because the ships are magnetic. And when they come up out of the water, they're coming from the lower tiers of the water. It causes a vibration that generally messes with the plates, and it can and literally cause ruptures in the foundation. Okay. So y'all, I apologize for it. Please put a like on the video if you were okay with the information. You feel like you got something from it. If not, it's okay. I'm going to be on today. I just wanted to share that message with you again. It's not, I wouldn't consider it to be a positive message, but I always feel like it's better to know than not know and walk around thinking that everything's peachy keen. But, like I said, you can verify a lot of the things I speak about, because if everything was peachy keen, your governments, your Willy Wonkas would be taking care of their people. They wouldn't be giving all of our tax dollars to a whole other country who is promoting mass killing of children and doesn't even bat an eye by it, and gives them free medical, and they're allowed to have free education for their children, while you and I sit here and work, and they want you as slaves. That's why the word slave is Slavic. It's a Slavic word, slave. Okay, they want you to be the slave and institute all the funding so that they can do the diabolicalness and they can enjoy the fruits of your labor. So if you feel like that's okay and you feel like your government is good for you, then keep on doing what you do and keep pushing. Keep working hard so that when you go to collect your pension, your 401k, and you see it's disappeared, and you look over in another country and they sitting over there enjoying the amenities that you work so hard for, then let me know how you perceive your own Willy Wonka. Okay? All right? Call it gaslighting, call it, me bringing reality to the surface, but all the things that if I'm engaged in making a certain amount of income for myself and my family, any taxes shouldn't be going to people who are killing other people's families and don't even care about it. Okay. So that's just my personal opinion. You can fund them if you feel like it. And Christians, let me give a bit of advice for you. You've been sitting complicit while the pooping president did a whole bunch of crazy things in that last term, and you see where the world is because your complicity. You sat there and let people use your churches as bioweapon centers to give people poison in their veins under your advice and your apathy. You are getting your payback for doing that. You're supposed to love God and your Jesus, but where's that gotten you and your people? You are putting and leading your people into the fire, and shame on you. So if you're a pastor, a deacon, a priest, whatever you are religiously, and you're sitting here and allowing and participating, you gonna get it too. Help your people out. Now, I'm not into that Christianity religion. I'm outside of that range because I've gone to another space of mind and consciousness. But y'all got to be made accountable for you putting your own parishioners in danger. You sat over there and allowed them to administer poison in your parishioners while you sat there and promoted it and getting fat checks. You mother freaking bastards. You get all those tax breaks so that you can mind control your wonderful people who follow you, who look for you for guidance. What happened to you taking all the money and the tithes to help the community? What happened to you getting those tithes so that you create personal places where mothers can house their children for free and give them meals that were healthy? What happened to you using those tithes to build up the communities around you and not buy big Mercedes and big planes and fill your wife with fake parts and BBLs? What happened to that? That's why I can't mess with you Christians, because a lot of you are hypocrites. I'm not saying not the other religious people. At least they let us know where they stand. But a lot of you religious people say you love your people, but you let them go to the wolves. Get it together, Christians. I was hoping that you would stand up and show out, but I'm still watching you get basically shelled and shilled all over the place, and you getting spit on in Jerusalem, and none of you say anything. Makes me think that you're all paid propagandists that are working for the CIA and FBI. And stop looking for rapture, because all of y'all talk about rapture happening on the 7th. What happened? If the rapture didn't happen, rapture is a concept that you're trying. It's escapism. Nothing's going to rapture someone who's so far from reality and does not work on self-evolvement, self-discipline, taking more responsibility for your own personal behavior and the position of your family and your lineage. You're looking for rapture because you're trying to escape your responsibility. Stop it already. Step up. Take care of your people. If you love Jesus and you love Christ and you love your whole religion, then start showing up and showing out. We shouldn't have children being kidnapped on your watch, Christians, when you got churches that can house children that are homeless and need help. Where's your help for them? Fake Christians. I'm just saying, I'm calling y'all out because, again, Muslims and people and Buddhists and all those other, they got their own issues. But I'm just saying, that community, I noticed that y'all are not helping your people. You just letting them get taken out and violated and just used. Get it together, Christians. Get it together. Okay? Anyway, y'all, I'm out. I know this wasn't a good mess. I apologize if I gaslit you. If you feel like I've destroyed your concept of your Lord and personal Savior, it just is what it is. I'm saying, if you got Jesus and he's the Savior, I don't see anybody getting saved right now. So maybe you need to rethink what you're worshiping or get up on that Jesus and start doing more in your community. Because from what I understand from the Bible, and I'm not a Bible toter, y'all, don't get it twisted, but God helps those who help themselves. Is that not a concept? So if God helps those who help themselves, God darn it, start helping yourself. So maybe God will help you too. Okay? Because they're spitting on you. The Darrows got you, and they got all of you bioweapons up. And about the November 1st, we're going to see if my theory comes to light. And if it does, you should feel a certain kind of way about them people over there doing dirt over there that you paying taxes for and got more reprieve and peace than you do. You should rethink that. Anyway, I appreciate you. I'm sorry, love and lighters. I'm not the channel for everybody. I will see you tonight on Zoom. It's getting a little chilly when I am. I'm sorry I gaslight you a little bit. It is what it is. The Crocodilians are here. You got the Seraphim that are here. They're all here about to enjoy in the harvest of humanity and mankind. And I think we have to pay attention and we have to do better. So listen, I always say, like I said, nothing can phase you if you're living a life higher than that which is trying to come against you lower. Because it can only reach you if you're there. So stop engaging with people that have very questionable belief systems and patterns of behavior, and stop engaging in consuming things that'll lower your vibration unbeknown to you, because it's being fed to you as food like Soylent Green, but it's really flesh from humanity being fed back to you. Okay? So I love you. I appreciate you. I'm about to go. I'll be on Zoom tonight, so I will see the Zoomies tonight, and we can kind of discuss, we'll see what happens with the next episode of False Flags and sleeper cells being activated. Okay, so take care, everybody. Wish everybody well, and I'll talk